Well, welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. Before we get going here, I want to invite you to join the team and subscribe to our channel. And love to have you on the team. And when you hit subscribe, the bell will pop up. Hit the bell for all the latest notifications. That would be so appreciated kind of at the early stage of this channel. So really excited for this video. I got 6 modern CGC 9.8 comic book picks for you guys here. And yeah, what's really cool about these picks is I kind of got 3 sort of under the radar, under followed books, which those happen to be the ones that I have. And then the other 3 are quite like iconic, like the ones to kind of get in the modern age. When I'm thinking about modern age, pretty much like 1998, 99, and you know, to present. So you know, I feel like the last lots of videos we've been doing like mostly 80s and 90s books. So nice to get a modern one out there, and yeah, so I'm really just doing the research for this video. I think there's some cool things we can like discuss and stuff. So first book here is Batman Beyond #1. In the CGC 9.8, it's the first appearance of Terry McGinnis, first Batman Beyond in comic books. And yeah, the cool thing about this book, or the one thing you want to keep in mind about this book is grab the first print with the UPC code here. There's the origin issue that is cool and everything, but it's, you know, pretty expensive for what it is, and I think, you know, hardcore collectors are just going after, you know, Batman Beyond #1 in the first print with the UPC code, and that's sort of reflected in the price on this book. But taking a look at the census, there's 147 of these in the CGC 9.8 in the blue label on the CGC census. So this is a book I really think it's one of those classic like low supply, high demand scenarios where 147 CGC 9.8s, but I think the popularity of Batman Beyond is just, you know, a lot more than that. And that's kind of reflected in the price too, and we'll talk about that. Really quickly, 37% for the CGC 9.8 ratio, which is not too bad for, you know, a book of this year. And I say in modern books, like, you know, the CGC 9.8 ratio probably isn't as important as it is in older books. But 37% is not going to look too bad, actually, when we have a look at the list. But talking about price, you know, if you get pretty lucky with this book on an auction, and as you can imagine, with only 147 out there, there's not a lot out there. But if you get lucky, I think you can grab this for about $300 to $400. CGC 9.8s, we're talking, you know, first print. Again, with the UPC code here, there's that origin issue. I just wouldn't even recommend that. You know, it's a lot of money. I would put that money toward this, or a 9.6 of this. So $300 to $400 is sort of the auction price. $500 to $600 are some buy it nows you see on the internet quite often. This book is certainly getting up there in price because I think there's a low supply and there's a high demand. 147 CGC 9.8s. I think the demand for this book is just a lot higher than that. You know, such a cult following with Batman Beyond. And then the wild card is if there's a movie, right? That would be amazing. I just, yeah, I can only imagine like a Batman Beyond movie. It would be like ridiculously awesome. So yeah, honestly, I like that book so much that I have to. So one off camera here. And yeah, honestly, I think, if an auction ever popped up and it was like a fire sale auction, again, only 147 of those, they do not pop. I mean, I was hunting for these for like months and months and months. And one of them I got a decent deal on, and one of them I was just like out of frustration of not finding one on eBay. I just grabbed one at kind of a bit of a premium price. But next book here is our lowest price book. And that's what I really like about this list. It kind of goes through the gauntlet of prices. It's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #51. And to my understanding and my research, this is the first appearance of Jennika. She was introduced as kind of a Foot Clan soldier in issue 51 here. And in issue 95, she takes Leonardo's blood because she was critically injured and becomes the first female Ninja Turtle. So, but this is her first appearance ever. And she was such a kind of underfollowed type character, you know, that they don't even have any, you know, information about her appearance on the CGC label. I'm sure that could change over time. So on the CGC census, this book here, there's only 17 CGC 9.8, so not a lot of them. I'm sure that'll really boost up here with kind of people like me and collectors like me just looking back, you know, now that 95 and 97 are out, kind of got me excited about Jenica. So, yeah, really happy to have it. Like, great cover too. I love the cover on this. I know there's a retail incentive version that is certainly more rare than this, but I really love this cover way more than that one. I think that'll kind of shine through over time too. CGC 9.8 ratio. You know, book came out in 2015, 77%. Not too worried about the 9.8 ratio on a brand new book. So price, I paid $75. I think it was a little over $75 for this. But then one had sold from the same seller the week before for like $71. So I think a really good price for this book would be that, you know, $75 or something like that in a CGC 9.8 first Jenica. I think over time that's going to look really good. Because, you know, even now on the internet, there's buy it nows for, you know, $125, $150. Yeah, so I can see this book possibly having a run up in price, possibly. And there's just a lot of potential. I mean, the way that commerce works and big business and these huge movies and everything, like, it's just a matter of time before there's going to be a female Ninja Turtle in a movie. And I don't think this book will be $75 then. I have a hard time believing that. So I'll try to get these up so they don't reflect. That should work. Hopefully it doesn't fall. It's like right on the pitch there. So first Jenica here in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 51, kind of under the radar right now. I think it's just one that you want to buy now while it's kind of cheap. Next book is Teen Titans number 12. The first full appearance of Batman Who Laughs. Pretty cool cover. And, you know, I think out of like modern villains, I can't really think of any other one that's kind of more popular right now, certainly, than the Batman Who Laughs. So, yeah, I think it's just a pretty good buy if you really are interested in, you know, Dark Knight's Metal and the Batman Who Laughs. And, you know, in prices, you know, lately, I would say in the last month or two, have seemed to be coming down. I saw one of these sell for about, I think it was $255 was the final price, which is quite considerably lower than what it was selling for, you know, 3-4 months ago. And I purchased this one sort of before it kind of blew up initially to, you know, $350 to $400 this was going for. I had purchased mine for about $230, I think it was, American, and then it sort of really took off after that. But now I think they're coming down. Maybe $250 to $300 is a decent spot. I would try to get this lower to $250. I think that would be a really good buy. Looking on the CGC census, 450 of these in the CGC 9.8. So a well-known, popular character that, you know, had its own mini-series, and now it's in like the Batman Superman, the Batman Who Laughs, and Batman Superman crossover, and, you know, doing a lot of crossovers in other books too. So they're really running with the character, which is a good sign. 33% the CGC 9.8 ratio, and you know, for a new book, that's actually quite good. There's a lot of these graded, but yeah, that's actually a pretty favorable ratio for like a new book, like 2017. Sometimes you see that ratio, you know, well over 50%. So if you're attracted to the Batman Who Laughs, I think with the price coming down in this is probably a pretty decent one to pick up right now. Yeah, you know, maybe look for some ones with best offers, and maybe throw in like a $255 best offer or something like that. Maybe be willing to go up to $265. Like, I would possibly do that if I didn't have one. So the last three books here, as I said, I feel are almost more iconic than these ones, whereas these are kind of under the radar, kind of more eclectic picks, I guess. So let's get right into the last three. NYX number 3 is the next book. First appearance of X-23, and who eventually becomes like Wolverine, Wolverine's daughter. She is Wolverine's daughter, eventually becomes the girl Wolverine. But yeah, you know, a lot of people, this book has a big cult following, you know, it's kind of for mature readers, and it's got that, you know, kind of love it or hate it painted cover, I guess you could say. So looking on the CGC census for this one, there's 1,640 9.8. So that's quite a lot more than what I thought there would be, but, you know, really popular. And I think this is even sort of riding the coattails of Hulk 181, where, you know, Wolverine blew up, so, you know, people are sort of looking for that, maybe that next book that could possibly go up in price a lot. And I mean, this book has done really well. The CGC 9.8 ratio is 40%, not too bad at all for a modern book. I would say that's somewhat favorable, like it's not like super high over 50. Prices on this one, so many of these have sold in the last month on eBay for $850 to $900 in the CGC 9.8 blue label. So this is the most expensive book in the list. First appearance of X-23. You know, for me, during that time, I was a bit out of the hobby, so I don't want to say too much about this book because I haven't read this book. I'm not familiar with the story, and yeah, it didn't really come back. I wasn't into the hobby as much during that time. And I'm a big, like, nostalgic connection buyer. So this is probably a book I won't buy. I don't really like the cover either. I generally don't like painted covers too much, although I do have some painted covers I really like, so I shouldn't really say that as a definite. Okay, next book here, another really iconic book, Ultimate Fallout #4, first appearance of the new Spider-Man Miles Morales. Looking on the census for this book, there's 1,140 CGC 9.8s. So, you know, anything over 1,000, you're getting over with, like, the first appearance of X-23 was 1,640. This one, 1,140, which kind of makes it look good in a sense. And yeah, I do actually have one, like, the main recommendation out of these last three books because they're sort of, as I said, the most sort of obvious and iconic. CGC 9.8 ratio for Ultimate Fallout 4 is 29%. That's quite low. And that's actually, it's the lowest in the whole list. And that really surprised me. So I think, yeah, Ultimate Fallout 4 kind of looks quite good on the census. Price-wise, just last week, and kind of keep an eye on the prices now because, yeah, just last week one had sold for $325. However, it was, like, from the UK, CGC 9.8, you know, $325 from the UK. And, you know, the buyer had decent feedback and everything, so I think, you know, I kind of was actually maybe hitting myself for not really bidding on it because you do see these, I've seen them go for like 400, 410, 405, like many sell in an auction too at that price. So to see one go for 325 like last week, I'm certainly keeping an eye on this issue. I think, you know, if you can get it closer to 300, I think that's a great buy. And you know, even my nephew, who is 4 years old, he loves Miles Morales, and like he's got the suit and the costume and everything. So I think, yeah, like in Amazing Fantasy, how first Spider-Man has just taken off as well, and this book has done well as well. You know, first Miles Morales. I think over time, I think this is a good long-term modern key issue to get. Last one, like super related to Ultimate Fallout 4, is Edge of Spider-Verse #2. First new Spider-Woman, Spider-Gwen, and really, you know, cool cover. And yeah, I will mention really quickly too, both of these last two issues, they have like those variants that in the CGC 9.8, I believe are over $2,000. Those auctions have went for us, the sort of much rarer variants of the issues. But yeah, Edge of Spider-Verse here. Looking on the census, there's 1,890 CGC 9.8s of Edge of Spider-Verse #2 on the CGC census. I thought that's quite a lot. Out of the sort of three iconic last books we're talking about here, that's the most 9.8s. So quite a lot of these. You know, I think 2014 book, I believe it is. So it's a newer book. But so yeah, maybe it's somewhat to be expected, but I think it just shows the popularity of Spider-Gwen, and the CGC 9.8 ratio is the highest, which is not good, you know, when you're talking about the CGC 9.8 ratio, is the highest out of the last three sort of iconic books too. So it's 60%, and you know, that's being the highest. It somewhat doesn't look attractive on the census. I guess it would be the least attractive on the census, but again, I think, as I said with modern books, I don't think the census matters as much. Price-wise with this book, about $400 to $500, I would say, in that sort of first print, $400 to $500. Yeah, and you know, to see it, the price a little bit over, I think, Ultimate Fallout 4. You know, a lot of them kind of go for the same price. So these two books are sort of neck and neck. But I think Edge of Spider-Verse, I think I see go towards the $500 mark a little bit more often than Ultimate Fallout 4, which sticks around that 400 pretty close on most sales in auctions and things like that. So, yeah, that's the whole list there. Just really quick, I'll go over them. Batman Beyond, all in the CGC 9.8 too. Batman Beyond number 1, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 51, first appearance of Jennika. Teen Titans number 12, the first full Batman Who Laughs. NYX number 3, first appearance of X-23. Ultimate Fallout 4, first Miles Morales. Edge of Spider-Verse, first Spider-Gwen. So, after sort of looking at all of them, and, you know, obviously I really like the first 3 picks because I bought them. And I always say that, like, sometimes people are like, you know, you talk about your books like very, like you're kind of selling them, and it's, well, because I did buy them, those are, like, the books that I feel the most, like, strongly about. But out of the last 3 books, which are obvious, iconic, really, I think they're all really good buys, to be honest. Like, if you're into NYX number 3, like X-23 a lot, I think you should, you know, certainly buy this book if it matches your budget. But if I had to choose one, kind of my top pick out of the last 3, it would be Ultimate Fallout number 4. First, it's basically the cheapest. So maybe if you're lucky, you get one at like $325. If you are kind of patient in an auction, like more like $385, $375, $400 even. I've seen them go in auctions as well. But on the census, I think it looks the best. The CGC 9.8 ratio is the lowest, 29%. And there's the least amount of 9.8s. There's 1,140. And this is in the first print as well. Certainly those variants, I don't know too much about those variants, so I don't want to like speak about them too much, but I did see them like on the CGC census on the page, and I know they're over $2,000. I've seen the Spider-Gwen one sell for closer to $2,500, I think it was, maybe even over. So yeah, Ultimate Fallout 4, first new Spider-Man Miles Morales is my kind of pick. And obviously, Batman Beyond, hopefully they make a movie. That's certainly probably my top pick. You know, probably over Teen Titans 12, but, you know, depending on if you like that a lot. And I don't think you can't go wrong right now buying this one for under $100, because again, I think any kind of pop culture event with Jennika that sort of brings in you know, new fans is just going to blow up this book, I think. So yeah, get it while it's under $100 would be my advice. Okay, I think that's going to be it for this video. Yeah, you know what? I wanted to get a modern comic book video out because certainly been doing, I feel like, a lot of 80s and 90s stuff lately, and even with that, the best way to invest in comics, talking about Silver Age books, which was kind of fun too. So yeah, glad to do some modern books here. I honestly, all 6 of these books are great buys. I wanted Ultimate Fallout 4. Like, that's what that was my big conclusion from this whole, like, kind of doing the research, looking at the census, seeing that Ultimate Fallout 4 pretty much looks the best on the census out of the last 3, but is the cheapest pretty much. Like, yeah, for me, that's kind of makes it a buy for me, and I think it probably because my nephew really likes them a lot too, is why I want to buy it. But all of these, yeah, Batman Beyond number 1, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 51, Teen Titans 12, and the last 3. I would completely recommend to buy these books. Just kind of choose the one you like the most, or the one you feel the best about, and, you know, grab that. And hopefully the CGC 9.8 match your budget. I always recommend in modern books to kind of buy the CGC 9.8s because there's a lot of them printed, and you know, when you get a CGC 9.8, it's like a 1 of 140. Like in the Batman Beyond number 1, like I got 2 of 147, like right here. So that's kind of a good feeling, and you know, you want to have kind of those limited numbers as a collector. I feel sort of. I know I like to kind of feel that when I buy a collector item. So thank you very much for watching. I'll invite you really quickly again to join the team and subscribe to Team CGC 9.8. And love to have you on the team. Hit the bell for all our notifications. In the link below, description below, I got my Instagram and Twitter, and I'm active on those platforms. So add me on those, and you can look at all the pictures pretty much that I've posted over the last bunch of months, and you can see my whole collection essentially. So thank you very much for watching today, and I'll see you on the next video.